Just a quick, for a bit of a comparison kind of video. Over here we've got Sony Energetic at N650 cells from a pack that I had stacked 3 of these together in series to make a 12 volt 30 amp hour cell. So that's there is 30 amp hours. $20 cells, 30 amp hour. This 5x4 block of cells that I've just put together nicely in its spacer is 60 amp hour. If you average out all these cells, which are all 2,900 to 3,100 in capacity, it gives us 60 amp hour. 60 amp hour at 3.7 volts. That's what I'm thinking about doing. Linking all of these as they are. Getting this bad boy here, pulling it apart, getting rid of the voltage regulation circuit, which regulates the input voltage. It's made to take 12 volts. You'll probably find it's actually 3.7 goes into it. If not, I've got one that is in that thing. And making a true 60 amp hour and 650 block 2.1 amp hour USB charger. I reckon that's going to get sacrificed. But in saying that, that might get sacrificed with the use of these kinds of plugs. Now, if I was to simply mount that off the back of this, connected to the lithium-ion polymer battery in there, so that's female as well, but use your imagination, and that to this block, I could then have it so I could just plug this into this. Now this is 2.1 amps on that port and 1 amp on that port, so you can run 2 chargers off it at once. You put the 2.1 on the Samsung S6 or whatever, and that one on my cheap old tablet or charging GoPro batteries, whatever. That's about 7 amp hour. It's meant to be 10, but it's light poly, and the capacity of it's dropping every day. Probably good for 500 to 800 life cycles. Whereas these are good for thousands, especially if you keep them in a good voltage range. But with that said, if I plug this into that, not only can I use it as a USB charger, I can use the USB charger to charge this. Just a thought. I can actually use my N650 charger. It's got a USB port in the base, so when you've got a couple of N650s in it, it fires up a 2.1 amp USB charger, so you can drain the 8 N650s. Yeah, bit of a current difference between these two I thought was interesting. Anyway, I'll keep this short and sweet. You get the idea. My other thought with the connector is use like a Molex connector out of a computer. That'd be fine as well. Or even a SATA power connector and just pick 2 out of it. It's only got to be able to carry about 1 amp, maybe 2. Yeah, having a 60 amp USB charger is not a bad thing when you've got GoPros, cameras like this in the Samsung S6. These are a very power hungry device. There's no such thing as too much power for USB charging. Thanks for watching.